from what we have over here, is this a higher low or a lower low? Does this pullback, this movement over here, does it break the previous low? No, it doesn't. So it's a higher low. Next, what did we have over here? A movement that broke what? It broke the previous high. So we can see that here we have a higher high. What's next? A pullback again. Does this pullback break the previous low? Now, where is the previous low? The previous low is here, the higher low. Does it break this higher low? No, it doesn't. So that means that this is also a higher low. And it continues that way. Then what we have next is a higher high. That's clear, right? So this is what it would look like in an uptrend. Now let's see what a downtrend would look like. Let's put that together real quick. Okay. Yeah, so let's do this. And yes, this is going to be a little more. Okay, let's do it this way. Can you all hear me? If you can, please drop a message in the chat box.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I'd like someone who is probably following what it is we're talking about to describe this. Okay, thank you very much. You can hear me. Now, we covered what higher lows are. They are retracements, they are pullbacks that do not break the previous lows. Now, in the downtrend, what we'll be starting off with is a high. And then what we'll have next is a low. What comes after? Can it be a higher high? Because a higher high is a continuation that breaks the previous high. Look over here. Does this break the previous high? No, it doesn't. So it cannot be a higher high. Now, a higher low is a pullback that doesn't break the previous low. This pullback did not break this previous low. So it is not a higher low. Next, a lower low is a continuation that breaks the previous low. This, first off, is not a continuation. Does it break the previous low? No, it doesn't. Then next, we have a lower high. A lower high is a pullback that doesn't break the previous high. Now, look at this. This pullback over here in green. Did it break the previous high? No, it didn't. So it is a lower high. If that's clear, you can just say something in the chat box. If it's clear, just type something in the chat box and let's continue. So this is a lower high. What comes after it? What came after? Something broke this previous low. So at the break of this low, what do we have? The lower low. So what comes next? The lower low. Now, this pullback, did it break the previous high? Did it break this lower high? No, it didn't. So it is also a lower high. Lower high. And then what do we have next? A lower low. And this is how a downtrend is formed. A downtrend is formed by lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. And then what do we have next? This over here, it broke the previous lower high. Once the lower high is broken, it is no longer a lower high. Why is that? Because the lower high does not break the previous high. This is the previous high over here. This high, this new push to the upside has broken it. And what's that? A higher high is a continuation that breaks the previous high. So this automatically becomes a higher high. And this is where we begin to talk about changes of structure. The markets can change from an uptrend to a downtrend just by breaking the previous regarded structure. So how do we turn this uptrend into a downtrend. How do we know that it is now a downtrend? Okay, excuse me. How do we know that? How do we see that? And how does everybody else believe that? It means that this higher low has to be taken out. It has to be broken. And once it's broken, that means that we no longer have a higher low, but rather we have a lower low because it broke the previous low. Now, what happens after this? We should get a lower high. And when we get a lower high, remember a lower high is a pullback that doesn't break the previous high, right? When we get that lower high, what do we expect next? A lower low. It is only when this happens, when this second lower low happens, that you can confirm that structure has changed. Why is that? Let's say we take this now. I'm just written in black now. So we have, okay, we have this, a high, a higher low, a higher high, and a higher low. Does it break this previous low? No, it doesn't. So we can still say that this could be just a higher low, and then we expect a higher high. But if the market pushes up to give you a lower high and then it breaks this new low, that means that the structure of the market has changed, and it is highly likely to not be going up anymore. So it is now upon this break that we can boldly say, with at least some certainty, that the market structure has changed. But with time and a few other factors of confluence, you'll be able to determine even when it's just this single one that has changed the market structure. So I hope that's clear. Let's look at something else. If you're familiar with chart patterns, you'd have seen this. This looks like a head and shoulder, doesn't it? That is how all those patterns just come out to be. So on one of the classes I held recently, I remember mentioning that your strategy doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You can trade any strategy and be profitable because everything is connected in a way. It's just different people describing what they see in different ways. So you've drawn this higher lows, higher highs, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and then you had a break of structure, and that's what you see. You only see structure, but someone else sees a head and shoulder pattern. Both of you make money. Or you could say you trade Elliott waves, and then you see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over here, and now you're having a correction and ABC. Everyone makes money. It's just sticking to your trading plan that will determine whether or not you'd actually be profitable. There are a lot of strategies. Pick one and then go with it. There's no point learning all of them. So now let's get to where it's actually important. Let's see it on charts because charts are the cocoa now. So before we go, let's do this. Look over here. Support and resistance, right? Remember, support turning to resistance. So this was resistance before. Price had not broken above here. What happened? It broke. It had a retest. Support resistance had now become support. So it's not always going to be this clear, but that is just a different way that everything just applies. Everything goes together. So let's see. Let's go back here. See this. Support, support, support was broken, became resistance, and then what do we expect next? The drop. So let's go to charts now. Let's go to charts. Okay. So can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let's get started. Let's move on to the monthly time frame. Now, let's identify highs and lows. So, the lowest point on the chart would be the low. That's where okay. So, we have the lowest point on the chart being here. If we draw, you see that nothing else has come this low. So, officially, this is the low. Then what do we have next? Automatically, once price moves up, it is a high. You can't have a lower low at the top of the. You can't have a lower low up here. No, a lower low is only gotten when price breaks to the downside. So all you have here now is a high. Then what happened after? Price pushed up, made a high. Price came down. What did it make? Was it lower low or a higher low? Notice the price break below this previous point. No, it didn't. So price made a higher low. And once we have a higher low, does that indicate an uptrend? Does it indicate a possible uptrend or a downtrend?
An uptrend.
Exactly. And so once we can determine that price is in an uptrend, that means that we should be looking for what? Buy opportunities. Meaning that if price goes low, if it goes so low, there is still every possibility, every tendency that as long as it doesn't break the previous region where it found strength, will keep on going higher. So now, price pushed up. From this, we had a higher low here. Price pushed up. Did it make a higher high? No, it didn't. Because this new high, this one over here, is not as high, or it is not higher than this previous high. So price did not make a higher high. Rather, it made a lower high. And it's a lower high because it did not break the previous high. Um, Poglins, please could you mute your mic? There's a little noise in the background.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so because price didn't make a new high, this point over here, this point is lower than this previous high, which is not a higher high. This way, we cannot confirm whether the market is trending or not. If the market was trending, it would be making something like this: a high, a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Now, on the overall structure, we cannot see that kind of movement. We do not have any higher highs. So we're just trading in between now. So what's next? What do we do? Well, we go with what it is that we have. We just don't force anything to the market. So all we have next is a lower high. And then price comes down. We see the next drop. Does that drop break the previous low? No. So is it a lower low? No. It is a higher low. This is now structure inside structure. If we're looking at here only, at this region only, we would have said that this was the low. This is the high. This is a higher low because it did not break the previous low. This is now, this is very beautiful, and that's because this is happening in real time. Let's look at this just to be very sure. This new movement over here, did it break this previous high? Let's confirm. Now, was this high broken? Yes, it was. Although it was broken slightly, but it was broken. And what does this mean? This means that we've established a high, a higher low, and now we have a higher high. So what happens next after we have a higher high? If the uptrend is confirmed, we should have a higher low and then a higher high. Now, does the higher low have to be this long? Does it have to get into the 90 region? It's a possibility. Doesn't mean it would. But regardless, as long as we get this new high that breaks this one over here, the uptrend is confirmed. So this works on all time frames. This is the monthly, so it will be really hard to get actual easy examples to see. The closest we'd have would be the ones over here. You see this market pushed up and then this candle pushed down here before it eventually did all this to the upside. Then candle opened here, pushed downward first to a higher low, higher high, pushed all the way from here down to down here, higher low, higher high. So let's zoom down. Let's zoom in rather and check out what it looks like on the weekly. So on the weekly, things look a little clearer. Let's identify. From this point, this was the low, and then we got a high. It was a higher low. Okay, let's do something first. Look over here. Where did the market actually begin from? We see it at 3,000. Yes, this was where we opened. This point over here, this was the open. And that's where 4,129. What happened after that? The market pushed down, made a low, a lower low. Made what? It broke this previous high. So it made a high. But what happened after? It broke the previous low yet again and made a lower low. Now, how do we do anything at times like this? We have the market breaking both up and down, so we're unsure. Next, we had this. Market broke to the upside very clearly, took out this previous high, and then it had a retrace. So, did this retracement get this low? Did it break this previous low? No, it didn't. It only made a slight pullback and then pushed up yet again. We had a drop. Did it break this previous low now? No, it didn't. So the uptrend is sustained. Now, do you see how the highs and lows are building up? Let's clear this down. And let's note where structure is broken. So, you can call this a high. This is our notable higher low. Then a higher high over here. Now you notice this way, pushing all the way down. That shows that sellers got in, and that made a higher low because price opened up here, lower than this high. So after that, what did we have? We had a higher high. But now, where was the previous low? Or yes, the closest to that is a higher low or a lower low. Anywhere that has a low in its name. It was here. You see that? Now, what happened? The market, the market broke through the previous low. That is over here. The market broke through it. And what do we have now? We have a suspected change in structure. That's clear, right? And then what's next? We had a pullback in. Did it break the previous high? No, it did not. So as long as it didn't break the previous high, what is it classified as? A lower high. Because now we have a lower low, and this is now our lower high. Then what's next? We got a new price movement that broke this previous low, meaning a lower low. So has the trend change been confirmed? Or at least the mini trend change? Yes. What do we have next? A lower high. And after that, boom, a lower low. What do we have next? A lower high. Is this high broken? No, it's not. So the downtrend continues. Now over here, this was the previous low. Let me put this here so we put this in clearly. This was the previous low. Was it broken? Yes, at this point. So someone is trying to get in. I don't see anyone on. Okay, give me a second, please. One minute, please. Yes. So let's continue. But for those of you that can hear me, is it clear? Are you following?
Yes.
Okay then. So let's get to it. Now, this was the previous high. Was it broken? No, it wasn't. What price did was it pushed up close to it, but then pulled down. Pushed up. Did it break this previous high? No, it didn't. So what do we have? We have over here a new low. It broke this low, so it is now our lower low. What next? Pushed up, made a lower high, pushed down. It didn't break this low, so it is not a lower low. Okay. Can you hear me better now? Yeah, I think it should be better. So it pushed down. It didn't break this previous low, so it is not a lower low. It is a higher low, at least until this is broken. Does it mean that the trend has changed to the upside because it is a higher low? No, it doesn't. Remember, for it to be confirmed to be a higher low, price has to break here to make it a higher high and then retrace for an uptrend. That's clear, right? So we have a higher low in the mini trend, but it is still a downtrend until it is confirmed. Since it's a higher low, this is a higher high, higher low, higher high. But once this is confirmed, once this breaks, all this in between turns to noise. So it's a lot easier to just say this is our lower low, this is our lower high, and then this is our lower low. Because in between, you would have a lot of noise. It is guaranteed. And that's because the market doesn't just move straight up or down. Look here. Let's look over here. We had the market push up this way, and then it came down. What do we have? A high, a low. Then next, pushed up, we have a higher high. A push down, we have a higher low. Push up, push down, push up, push down, push up. All this is indicative of what? An uptrend, right? But the overall trend from the bigger time frame is down. So it would be foolhardy to say that the market structure has now changed completely because you have this higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. No, that doesn't mean that the trend has changed. For the trend to change, it has to be a notable high or low that is taken out. So that means if this were to be a change of structure, that would mean that after this here and this, what we should have next should be this before we can say that yes, the market structure has truly changed. If not, um you'll be getting quite a lot more failed trades than actual good trades. So let's get to it. You see that this is now our lower high. Okay, this is our lower high, this is our lower low. And now, where do we see when the structural trend has changed? Okay, I have to do this real quick. I need the new information on the chart. So low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. What was the previous notable lower high over here? What is our low? Let me just write it there so it will be a lot easier. This is our notable lower high. This is our lower low, right?
Hello, boss.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Boss, persons are trying to enter the meeting. Please let them in.
I don't see anyone in the waiting room. It's all empty here.
There's no
Kayode
one
was
in the
trying
waiting
to
room. I've let
enter.
everybody.
Okay,
You should be in now.
okay.
Okay, Kayode is in now.
Thank you, boss. So we have
Thank you.
this, our lower high, and we have our lower low. So if the market were to be in a downtrend, what do we expect? That this lower high should not be breached. It should not be broken. But once it is broken, remember, it has to be notable. It has to be clear, because this is what most people have to see. So a notable lower high is breached. What does that mean? Market structure has changed. Now look at this. This was also a lower high. This isn't a lower high because this point here did not break this low from before. So if it had broken and then come back up, then here would be a lower high, but it's not. So this is our notable lower high. Before this got breached, we had a lower low, and then this became the new lower high. So this lower high was breached. And what does that mean? That implies that we have a very likely structure change. So what happened? Market pushed to the upside. This lower high was breached, meaning that what we have next is it a lower high? No. It is higher than the previous high and the previous lower high. So it is a higher high. We now have a higher high over here. And then what happened next? We had a higher low. And after this higher low, so after the higher low, what did we have next? We had something that broke this previous high. So we had a higher high. Now, this is the in-between structure. Remember, what we still have from here, from the very beginning, let me use red now. This is our high. This is our higher low. And we need a higher high to ascertain a completely bullish trend. But for now, what we have is this, a lower high, meaning that bears can still be in control. So what happens next? We have this. This is our previous higher low. Is it breached? Yes, it gets breached here. What happens after it gets breached? Now we have a mini trend change, and then we have a what? A lower high, because this now becomes, let me write, here we have a higher low, here we have a higher high. Now this point over here, since it breached the previous higher low, this now becomes our lower low. What does this now become? A lower high. And after that, we have a lower low. So market tends to repeat itself. It's consistent. Market structure is something that most people have no problem saying is the same in their eyes. So it is very safe to understand market structure. It doesn't mean you have 100% winning trades, because there could be times where we misinterpret what the structure is, and then we lose money. But more often than not, can expect to trade better, understanding the structure of the market. Okay, good evening, Echo Money. I will greet you, boss. Good giveaway. Money is in your name. Yes, so now we see that we had a minor trend change over here. This was the previous higher low. It was broken over here. So we have a low, a lower high. lower low. Now, this is where I mentioned we might miss it. Look over here. This was the previous high. Was it taken out? Yes, it was. So you can just assume that it was a buying market now. That this is now the high, this is the low, and then we are now getting a higher high because we have broken this previous lower high. Remember what happened here? Low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This previous lower
Your
high
screen
was
isn't showing.
um who can see my screen, please? Can everyone see my screen?
Not
Okay, let me stop sharing and
Yeah, boss, I can see your screen.
okay.
Maybe it's
Go
just
back.
my network. Continue.
Okay. So yes, let me quickly draw the jaga once again. So this. Now over here we had this lower high broken. Sorry, I'm not writing the lower highs, lower lows. I explained it earlier so that you'd be able to follow through. It's a little stressful to switch between two over here. So you see this lower high, this one over here, was broken here. And what did we have next? A higher low and then a higher high. So over here, we could have assumed the same thing because I would have thought the exact same thing. This previous lower high was breached here. So what would I have been expecting? A higher low and then a higher high. Because all I want is for Bitcoin to rise. But now, this is what we got. A low, a lower high, and then a lower low. But it's all within this bigger structure. So this is now our high. This here is the high. This is the low. And now, we're waiting to see whether this would be a higher high or a higher low. And it's really beautiful because now we see this playing out. This is confirmed to be a higher high. So what do we expect? A pullback and then continuation. This would really be the okay. This would be a really nice place to get in for buys. If we do manage to see any pullback to around 12K. Okay, I'm not selling my land. I don't have land gone. I can't even sell any of the properties I own. Nobody will buy for 5 Bitcoin. But it would be really nice to get in on buys anywhere around there. Buying Bitcoin is always a nice strategy. If the dip dips, buy the dip. Then after you buy the dip and the dip keeps on dipping, keep on buying the dip. Okay, yeah, that's something I saw today that was really funny. Though. Forgive my sense of humor. Moving on. So we've established what market structure is, and how do we use that? How do we apply that in our trading? Let's see. Candlesticks, and then support and resistance. Or before I go on, is there anyone who didn't find it clear? What if I don't have money to buy any more dip? Then let's just say the village isn't far, but we don't want to go to the village. Let's keep on praying for Bitcoin and all of that is good. Yes. So, is there anyone who didn't understand?
Yeah, boss, this place I cycled, there was something you mentioned there. I did not really get it.
Okay, let's clear that and let's look at it. This over here. Okay. Don't want to have all this popping up. Oh, let's see. This over here was the previous high before we had this move to the downside. Now, what happened, or what would make us know that this market is now in an uptrend? Okay, how do you enter the market? Take profit and stop loss. We'll see that in a bit. Yes. So now over here, okay, I see that. I'm trying to illustrate why that region is important. So over here, we see that this was the previous high. Let me just use this. It's locked in. So here we have a high. And then down here, it's a higher low. And why is that? It did not reach this previous low. It is a higher low. What's next? This now is a higher high. But remember, the higher high is only confirmed after we have a higher low and then a break of the higher high. So tentatively, Bitcoin is going up. Tentatively, we should see a pullback. The pullback doesn't have to be large. Look at this. This pullback here, we had a higher high because it broke over here. We have a higher high, a higher low, and then a higher high. The pullback did not take time. But here we have a high, a higher low, and now a higher high. You see this pullback, it took a lot of time. So it depends on the mood of the market. You can't do anything to the market. You can only try to be in the right place at the right time and make money. So what is significant about this point? What is significant about it is that it signifies a break in structure. This was the previous market structure. So now we could see Bitcoin from here push all the way to and break 20K because it is maintaining what we believe should be an uptrend structure. And then that would fulfill the overall direction of high, higher low, and then higher high whenever this is broken. So how do we use all this to now determine stop loss, take profits, and entries? Well, first off, let's look at support and resistance in relation to market structure. Can you see the whiteboard? I want to believe you can, so let's do this real quick. You have the market trending down like this. It's not always going to be as clean as this. It would not always be this easy to trade off. But let's use this as our textbook example. What do we have here? In the region of previous resistance, over here was support. What happened? Price bounced up of support and gave us a new high. But this time it's a lower high. Now note, this is how bias picking helps in trade entries. Now, you see that this new high over here is lower than this previous high. So that already puts in our minds that, well, the market is looking like it does not want to get all the way up here. So we could now be going even lower. And then what happens? Price breaks through. Once price has broken through previous support, what do you expect it to become next time price comes to it? It becomes a place where they knew before, a place where they were once familiar with that they did not like. And so the hatred will now become extra when it now comes to retest. And then that's why it's like when the market first breaks through a region of previous support or resistance, it only does a little. It only, maybe here was resistance. If you just break it slightly and then it now come back inside, you probably trap sellers to make them think, okay, it's going down, and then kaboom, you now see it shoots even higher than before. That's because upon the retest, upon the retest of previously broken structure, there is more ginger to now be like, okay, now we have we found strength to break above. We found strength to be completely ahead of everything, and then we just have to go up. So that extra incentivization is what happens whether it's in an uptrend or a downtrend. So Upon retest of previous support, it now finds the extra strength to now break. And then what happens? If it's in a downtrend, it's very beautiful because you just keep on getting things like this over and over and over again. It pulls back in to the region of previous support, becomes resistance, drops again. So now let's see whether it actually does that on charts. Let's see whether it's actually true or it's just in the textbook it used to happen. So let's see. Over here. This region here. This was previous support. This region here. Price bounced off it, and then broke through it. Once price broke through, let me use black here. Once price broke, what happened? It came back to retest it. Did this retest go above this previous high? No. So first we have a low, a high, a lower low. Now we're already feeling like we're in a downward movement. So what will we be looking for? We'll be looking for shorts. We'll be looking for where to sell. And where is the closest place to sell, or where is a very nice place to sell? At regions where support turns to resistance. So how do we combine all this to now make a working trading plan? We have a region of previous support that was broken through. What happens when support is now retested from the opposite direction? It now becomes sort of a resistance. And what happens after the resistance? That is, the support turned resistance is now tested. We have to drop. And you see that this drop was lower than this previous one. That's what it is. And then the same support zone extended over here is what we had again. We tested, boom. That's clear, right? Now, let's use a buy example. So it won't look as if we only like to sell. It won't be as if we just hate Bitcoin so much and we only want to sell it in life. So let's look over here. This was previous resistance. Price never managed to break above it. It just kept on trying. Tried, failed, tried, failed, tried, failed, and then it broke above. So what happened once it broke above? Let's see. This over here was the previous lower high. So because this was the previous lower high, this makes here automatically our lower low. Because it closed below the lower high. That's the only criteria to have a lower low. Rather, it closed below the lower high and broke below the previous low. So this is our lower high. This is our lower low. And then we have a push to the upside. Did it break? No, it didn't. It gave us a lower low, a lower high rather. But what happened afterwards? A slight pullback. This is our new lower low. And then price broke above the previous lower high, meaning that we automatically have a higher high. And now, how would we have traded this? Look over here, you see that we have, this was previous what? Previous resistance. What did it become? Resistance, 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 now turned to support. Where did the market bounce off of? That region over there. Did the buy break above this previous high? Yes, it did. So, now we have this. What do you expect next? A retest of anywhere. Now, you see why I said 12K is a viable region for me. Let's look here. This was previous resistance. Price strike here, failed. Price strike here, failed. Now, for people who trade patterns, you see this and then you think inverse head and shoulder. Whoa, the market is the same. Whatever you want to call it, call it. But for people who trade patterns, what you'd be waiting for would be probably a retest of this and then hit buy. Where does this retest end? 12K, around this region. That's why I said 12K will be a viable buy region for me. Does that mean that you should go and short this coin from 14K to 12K? There's one very, 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 very great possibility to enter village. Why is that? Because the market is trending in one direction now. It's showing you that it's going up. So you should try your best to not sell trending markets. You should always want to be in the direction of the trend. The trend is your friend. Market structure would always assist you in determining that trend, so you can ride the trend. When you ride the trend, you're able to hold on to profits a lot longer because you notice that the buys take up more space. Sells are just small. Buys take up more space. Sells are limited. Buys take up more space. So you don't want to be caught in the middle of this corrective range. There are ways to trade corrections. For those of you on the Bitly WhatsApp group, I call it sell. Let's check that out. This is USDT. Yeah, so zoom down slightly. Call itself from around here. I think. Where is you? Where is you? Yes, from around here. And why did I do that? I think it was around 383 or no 390 or so. I don't have the figure here with me, but got itself from here and exited at 378. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 378. Oh, why did I pick the sell? Why did I think a sell was viable? Oh no, you don't have to pay to use TradingView. TradingView is a free charting platform, but there's the advanced section where you only have access to some paid content. So let's see. We had this. This was okay. Let's quickly go over this. This was the high, low, higher, low, higher, high, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. And then what do we have next? This is the higher low. Once it's broken, what does that mean? That means that sellers have gotten into the market. So now we had a lower low because it broke below this high. So let me write that real quick. So this over here is a higher low. The higher low is broken. Now what do we have next? A lower low because it's lower than the previous low. You get that? So what do we have after a lower low? You should have a lower high. And that's over here. A lower high. Now, this is just anticipatory. We are not sure yet. We are only confirmed when what happens when the lower low is broken. So, lower high, lower low, lower high. Now, remember I said that there are ways to know when this is possibly a lower high and would not be making a higher high. We'll cover that on a different day. But for this, let's just get attuned to this. This is very, very, very straightforward. So now, one of the things that I'll be talking about when we do get to it is it's called shoot. Forgive me, I've forgotten what it's called. I just know what it looks like. Yeah. If you understand the Elliott theory, it will be called something like alternations. No, not alternations. Waveforms, rather. Yeah. So, let's look at this. Let me explain that really quick. Market goes up really quick. Now takes 15 years to dance in between before it now pushes up again. Over here, all this is noise. What you see that forms really fast is the actual trend. That is most likely the actual trend of the market. So let's see. Over here, look at this buy. It took a lot of time. What happened next? A huge sell really fast. Then this buy came up, taking a lot of time. Every time we had sells, they were fast. Look at this. This was a high, higher low, higher high. Agree? So this higher high, this is a higher low, this is a higher high. Now, what is this? A higher low. The higher low is reached. You see that? This is structure in structure. The higher low is breached. What do we expect? A higher high, a pullback or something. Support zone. Pull back into support zone. Boom. We had a drop. This is an effect. At it as previous support. Bounced off, drop, retest, boom. So we see that the cells actually come a lot quicker. That's one of the ways to identify a trending market. So you see that cells are viable, cells are viable, cells are viable. In here, you can have structure and structure. This is just a correction. This buy looks really impulsive, looks really nice. But let's see. This is the lower low. This is the lower high. This is the lower low. What do we expect next if the downtrend is going to be maintained? A lower high, right? So as long as this place over here, this previous lower high isn't breached, or rather, I missed one. This is the lower low, this is the lower high, this is the lower low, this is the lower high, this is the lower low. This would have been breached. You could have thought that buyers had gotten into the market, would have waited for a retest or something, and then this would most likely have been a failed trade. This is an example of us not winning every trade. So it's not like this is the holy grail, but this helps you make more profitable trades. So a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high. What do we have next? This is broken. So we have a lower low. So what happens after a lower low? You get a retracement, a pullback, a lower high. And this is the reason why I sold ETH at that point. There were a few other factors of confluence as well, but this was the reason why I was using market structure. Lower high, and then I sold to expect what? A lower low. And that's what we got. We took profit at 378, and then we closed out happy. Yes, made some profits over there. But now, what do we have? You see this? A lower low is formed, a lower high is formed, a lower low is formed. Now, remember this is a lower high. Has it been breached? Yes. So what do we expect next? If the market were to continue trending, we'd expect it to make a pullback and then go. So this is why I'm buying ETH now. So I'm just waiting to see if this will get breached. If these previous lows can get breached. If they do, then I have no business in the market again, because what I'm expecting is a buy. Once the regions of possible movement are exhausted, there's nothing to wait and do again. So if we create patterns, let's see a quick pattern over here. What does this resemble? Inverse head and shoulders. So regardless of the strategy you say you want to trade, whatever the name they call it is, the cocoa is to find one that will be profitable in the long term and use that. So if we combine trend line with that, we'll be waiting for a break here, a retest, and then we buy. But God no go shame us. Maybe just no enter village. Amen. Yes, so we have a few more minutes. Let's take questions for about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll be done for tonight. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat section or unmute yourself, and then we'll get to it. Okay, so I'd assume that no one has any questions. Yes, so let's see. Closing remarks, item 7. Yeah, so Bitsy is organizing a trading contest, and okay, Mr. Chimezi, you just unmuted yourself. Do you have a question? can't hear you.
Not at all. Not at all. Not any question.
Okay, that's nice. So, I'm going to assume that everything was clear. If it isn't, well, you can always ask questions in the Bitsy trading group, or anytime at all. But yes, Bitsy is organizing a trading contest, a giveaway of $1,000, and we currently have one winner. He has gotten his